Greetings, everyone, and welcome back to another new episode of Inside Voices First Takes. I am still your co-host, Colin Binnig.
And I'm your main host, Adam Rubin.
Debatable. And here we are going to review a non-spoiler review of what we just both seen.
Probably the only non-spoiler review on the internet of this film.
The internet's a big place, but one of the very few, I'm sure.
Probably. The only good one. Definitely the only good one.
And of course, the movie is Avengers: Infinity War.
Fun isn't something one considers when balancing the universe. But this does put a smile on my face.
Whoa. Otherwise known as, what would happen if Al Gore was driven insane with power by a metal glove?
That's what your first thought was? You thought about
Absolutely. I said, ooh, Thanos is a big purple Al Gore who got driven mad by the glove. He had great motivation. Motivation.
So really, you should have called this movie Avengers: An Inconvenient Truth. That's what you got.
Absolutely. That's what it should have been called.
All right, well, we got Adam's opinion. I guess it's my turn. Non-spoiler review. Wow, I don't know if I could top that. Okay, that was not what I thought of. I have to say, without getting into story details, of course. This movie, 10 years in the making. I think it's movie number 18 or 19 in the canon that is the MCU. If I was going to compare it to, this movie in terms of what has followed before, this is like the culmination of a very elaborate chess game. Every one of the other MCU movies have all been placing things on the board, getting into the right position, getting it, strategically in the right area. And this movie is basically now just attack. It's all about striking when the iron is hot. This is all about the execution of what has been set up. This is all execution. And for the most part, I loved that about the movie. It really paid off a lot of, a lot of the Easter eggs that had been placed in various movies coming together. A lot of it finally got addressed. A lot of it finally came together or apart, depending on certain story elements. But for the most part, I thought it was very engaging. It kept my attention the entire time. It still had a good amount of humor, which I was worried about, given that this is like the culmination of, Thanos and his hunt for the stones, which would probably be a somber tale. Still had some good humor, mostly from the Guardians, which was to be expected, but other characters as well.
No, I thought the humor was pretty well distributed, actually, amongst the stories.
Well, I would say the place where it probably wasn't was like the whole Cap story,
Well, he's not funny. He's not funny.
I'm saying
but people around Cap are funny in this movie. You've got some, that bathos rears its head over and over again, which I think is a little overdone. But I'm just saying, it's not just concentrated in the bits where we cut away to Guardians of the Galaxy. Right. Lots of characters had good, funny lines.
Yeah, Iron Man, Strange, Spider-Man. You're right. But I said the Guardians had like the most of it, which would make sense. Which is something I also appreciate, that I was worried that the different tones of, like an Iron Man with the Guardians or the Cap would not gel very well. I thought it gelled fine. I thought the tones didn't get lost or they didn't too jumbled.
You didn't think they would gel, Colin? That's all they've been They've been custom designed only to gel.
I remember you had a problem with previous MCU movies with the tone because you thought they were getting a little too silly or the stakes not as great or as dramatic as what they should be, and
they kept undercutting the stakes. Yeah, right. Absolutely.
And this movie does have those stakes, but it also still had that humor. So I didn't know if that was going to go well together, given that it's supposed to also be very kind of somber. And you're not supposed to be laughing as much as you really think you're supposed to in this movie. But you are. But it's okay because it's at the right times. It's not messing with the actual overall, let's just say, boss level moments when Thanos is on a roll. So yeah, I thought it did a nice job balancing that, and I was also surprised where the story went in terms of plot revelations involving like stones and locations without getting into detail. So I very much enjoyed it.
And I'll agree with you on the first part. I will agree with you that I thought that the humor was more well balanced in this movie. I thought it picked its moments to tell a joke in order to relieve some tension. That felt much more deliberate and controlled in this movie. I liked it more, the execution in this movie, than some of the other ones. I definitely was also a little bit nervous about that going in, and in my opinion, they did not overdo it. I was pleasantly surprised.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
That being said, about all the things I liked, without getting specifics, one of the best parts of most of the previous MCU movies is the smaller character interaction moments where, like, this movie is basically like a 2.5-hour battle, even though there's 3 separate battles happening. It's basically go, battle, new skirmish, new stone, and repeat, rinse and repeat. The first Avengers, though, even the second one, had a lot more, like, I guess you could call it downtime, where, like, just the Avengers are talking in a room, or they're debating something in a room, where different philosophies are being exchanged. If you're looking for that in this movie, you're not really going to get that much. You're barely going to get anything. The only moment that I can think of, and again, I won't say any in terms of what it means, but there was only, I thought, one small character-to-character interaction that actually I thought had a lot of emotion behind it and weight.
Couldn't disagree with you more. Could not disagree with you more. Which is the one you thought had weight?
Without giving away, it involved Thor and Rocket. Like, that was actually...
Come on.
Come
on. No, listen, I'm glad. Thank goodness there wasn't a lot of downtime in this, because in this movie there are actual things happening. There are actual stakes. There's actual jeopardy. It's not just the big blue laser in the sky. Oh, what's the laser gonna hit? It didn't leave time for a lot of sitting around chit-chatting. It demanded action, and that is a tricky thing to pull off in these movies. You wouldn't think it would be, but it actually has been historically very difficult for these superhero movies to pull off engaging, convincing jeopardy in these stories, that if the heroes don't act, something bad is actually going to happen. And this movie, I thought, did a much better job of, it moved along. It moved along because it had to move along. So you didn't have time to go to a bar and just sit and chit-chat and have a good time. On the other hand, I would argue there were many small character interactions that had genuine emotion to them and real emotional stakes, even if they weren't just sitting around chit-chatting.
I'm seeing it completely different than you. First of all, I think definitely the other 2 Avengers movies, if you did not feel like there was dramatic stakes, whether it was an alien invasion of New York or a meteor of a city that could potentially wipe out the planet, then I don't know what you're missing. You're missing things. Those are 2 huge, earth-shattering potential events. So don't tell me that the third, right? No, the first 2 had stakes too. So I don't want to hear that at all. And second of all,
not the way. Yeah.
Second of all, the only reason why those movies work, besides having the stakes, is that if the characters aren't bonding as much with each other or fighting with each other as much before, like the third act, the final level or whatever, before it happens, then we're not going to care as much about these people potentially dying. This movie relied on the fact that we got to know them so well in previous movies that we didn't have to know anything more or see anything fresh with, people meeting new Wakanda members in this movie, or like Thor meeting the Guardians that much.
But there were lots of fresh moments like that. There were lots of fresh moments where people were meeting each other for the first time.
There were, but compared to the previous ones, much less. Much less, because everything was focused on fight Thanos, fight his henchmen, go.
I have to say, and I don't usually rush to these movies' defense, especially in terms of character development, but I am going to say I thought they did a very good job of building in character moments for each of the characters even within the construct of we do have to fight Thanos, this is serious, we do have to make sure that we don't slack off. I thought they found a surprising number of moments to have some real personal character stakes for various characters in this. I was pleasantly surprised yet again.
Interesting. Okay. I mean, I'm not saying they don't. There definitely is some good character interaction. I'm just, compared to what I've seen before, you could obviously tell they had to shorten it quite a bit.
I am dying to get into the specifics of this with you, but we are going to have to wait until our spoilers video for that. So,
well, Adam, you're right. This is the non-spoiler review, so we can't go into too much specifics. But I do want to ask you a couple just general questions on your end and tell me how you feel about him. Thanos, how did you like his portrayal? His motivations? Again, you don't go specifics, but just did you feel like this was a three-dimensional villain for the most part?
Well, in fact, I felt he was a fourth-dimensional villain because, of course, we have time involved here as well. But yes, he was strongly. I did. No, I felt he was a very good villain. Maybe a little bit too purple. I could have gone with slightly less purple. I feel like this is the kind of movie where 5 or 10 years from now, we're gonna look back and go, he looked a little too fake. But for today, seeing it tonight, he looked pretty good. And the emotional, the sense of emotion that you got from his face and his performance was pretty good, better than most of these.
I agree with that.
Again, I think in 5 years it'll look pretty pathetic, but I think today it worked. And I thought that the performance was better than expected. I thought his motivations were quite fleshed out, and without getting into anything that wasn't in the trailer, his basic premise is that the universe is overcrowded. There's not enough resources to go around, so some people got to go. We gotta minimize our impact on the universal environment. And I thought that was very well explained.
Isn't that the argument that who's that mathematician that said the same thing, right? There was like a famous mathematician.
Al Gore.
No.
I know that's not who meant.
You know what? He's wearing a Batman shirt to a Marvel movie. He's already off on so many levels. I can't explain this.
I will confess here in this forum, because I can be honest with you, our loyal audience, that I don't own a Marvel t-shirt. It was either this or Superman, and obviously this, because I am the Knight. But you represent the Marvel Universe, and that's good. It goes with our whole yin and yang thing. I'm DC, you're Marvel. I'm a PC guy, you're on a Mac. We get it. We get each other.
Okay, keep talking about that, darling.
We both like Deadpool.
All right, and then lastly, again, we can't go to specifics, but the ending. How surprised were you? Let's just, on a scale of 1 to 10, did you see it coming? Did you see how much of what happened?
I'm not going to comment on that. I feel that I'm not going to comment on that.
Just a range of
next. Nope. Next video. Next video. Next video. Next video. If you want to see what I thought about anything about the ending, the next video with the spoilers. Colin, we're not going to talk about that.
Okay. Well, then finally, give me then what's your final score of Avengers?
Go see the movie. Go see the movie. This might be my favorite one. This might be my favorite Marvel movie. Maybe the Avengers one has held out, but this might be my favorite. I'd have to think about that. It's right up there. Go see it. I was surprised how good it was.
At least like an 8 then from you, I would think.
Oh yes, like the first Avengers is a 9, and
this is around there.
Yeah, right around there. I mean, let's give it an 8.5 for now because I'm still processing it, but it's right up there.
Yeah, I'm with you. First Avengers for me got like a 9.5. It was so close to being perfect, like just a bit short. Avengers 2 got it a low 8 from me. And I'm gonna put Infinity War kind of right. I'll give it like an 8.7. I'm gonna give it an 8.7.5. Just right in between.
8.7.5. You get a double decimal.
Well, you know what I mean. You know what I mean, Bruce. All right, so. All right. Well, I guess that's all we can actually say without giving anything away. So.
Well, wait, but go see it, right?
Oh yes.
Oh, okay. Just you didn't say that.
No, I'm giving
tell the people to see it.
5 and saying don't go see it. Come on, Adam.
You didn't tell them to go see it. Go see it.
I'm inferring that they're smart. Anyway, that is it. Non-spoiler review of Avengers: Infinity War. That's our producer.
The only one on the internet, as far as we know, as of
far as
this
we know.
recording.
So that'll be it for this. We're going to upload a second video where everything is on the table.
Oh, yes.
Be warned. Watch at your own discretion.
Yeah,
But until then, I am Colin Binnick.
And I'm Adam Rubin.
This has been the non-spoiler review for Avengers Infinity War. We'll see you next time on First Takes.